So it's July 4th, 2016, and it is a celebration of Independence Day here in the United States of America. Not the America of Central and South America, not the America on the northern part of the continent of Canada, America, but the United States of America in between the other Americas. We should never forget that we are in the American hemisphere, but we are the one and only United States of the hemisphere. In any case, um, you know, I look at my Facebook and I see all my friends and family, and the response to this day varies wildly. And I'm curious as to, you know, how Independence Day or a nationalist holiday like this looks in other parts of the world and how the general population responds. I think, though, what's interesting for me is I teach world history, Western civilization, and US history on the college level. And it's really kind of helped balance my perspective. Or for me, it gives a balancing perspective on what it means to be an American, as in a citizen of the United States of America. Um, I feel like, I see a trend where people rather think that we're the greatest nation that's ever lived or that we're the worst. We do have this kind of cultural pattern of a little over self-importance. I mean, are we so the thing that we're the worst thing in the world or the best thing in the world? We're a part of the world, and we have elements that have been celebrated by other parts of the world, elements to our history and who we are that we celebrate, uh, uh, and other things that are condemned from here and abroad. And, teaching world history has given me the opportunity to understand that. If you're a Russian and you look at your founding fathers of your country, they certainly are some complex characters. In the United States, we have our founding fathers, again, complex characters. And you look to British Isles, France. Charlemagne is celebrated. He annihilated thousands of pagans in the name of Christianity before the Vikings even unleashed themselves. And he's celebrated. We have a lot of characters in this world that are celebrated and condemned depending on where you're at. And so I just think it's good for us to reflect upon this aspect, no matter what side we feel about a holiday like today. I think that we should always remember, it's just like this. Sometimes you have a friend and they're very good to you, or a family member that they're very good to you. And then you see how they treat their spouse or their parents or their children, and you become shocked, right? Some people are good to one group and not to others. And that makes people confused. So, you look at our founding fathers, they stood up for very high ideals that, in a universal sense, are appealing to many people of all ethnic backgrounds and gender, to everybody. But we saw that they applied these ideals in a limited way. And so, what the founding fathers of this nation, when they talked about freedom, meant to white men of property was a different thing that it meant to a black person on this land. And for Native peoples, I have a friend I worked with. She is a Native American, active with her tribe, and not a white American who talks about being part Native American because their great grandpa was married to a Native American woman, that kind of thing. No, like actually, a part of tribal life. And this is not something to be celebrated because 4th of July was the harbinger. This was basically the end of another person's civilization. Now, I think that that's hard for Americans to often swallow. Now, is this being a buzzkill on 4th of July? Do we always have to bring up this, focus on the bad? Or what about being people of the times, or blah, blah, blah? I mean, look, let's be real. Can't we accept the fact that we pick and choose things that we value and we condemn in history? And you have to do that even as a conservative. I mean, think about this. When we celebrate 4th of July, we were saying, our leaders, the people who were for separating from Britain, were saying that the past and the present were unacceptable for the conditions of the people living at the time. That's the very definition of being a radical, because a radical, the meaning of that is to uproot something, right? Well, all the founding fathers were traitors and lawbreakers until the revolution succeeded, and they were aware of that. Okay? So there was this questioning of what to do. And then when our own laws were formed here, it wasn't a complete rejection of the European project. No, we were taking steps in our own unique way, meaning the political leaders here, morphing off what was already being done in Europe, the idea of a democratic republic and the way to organize the state. But it was a break. It was a break from monarchy, for example. Okay? So there was a picking and choosing of that part of the history to accept and to reject, and sometimes even condemn. To condemn. When Thomas Paine condemned a monarchy as actually even being anti-biblical and to be inherently evil, he was condemning thousands of years of European history, of Western civilization. That's a very iconoclastic position that he was taking. And not everybody agreed with that per se, but ultimately it was that kind of sentiment that would justify the break from the British Empire. Okay? And, I think that model can help us do this. Well, can we condemn ethnic cleansing and slavery and not allowing women to participate in politics or men of property? I hope that we do. And people are going to say, well, those things were done in other countries. Right. We can condemn that as well, but that's not our country. This is ours. If we're going to take responsibility for ourselves, if we're going to be truly responsible for what we are and who we are, then we have to accept it all. And we have to ask ourselves where we stand on those things. And how do those elements of history educate us in a way that kind of lead us to where our politics are now. Okay? And I think that's what's important. Was America great? It was great, when that's being said, right? Well, it's been great for some and not for others. America was great when it was with the British Empire. It was great for some of the loyalists. Remember, the word loyalist means you're loyal to the crown. You had people living here that actually found it to be better to be with the British. And when the war for independence was in the favor of the Patriots, it wasn't a favorable circumstance for those who were loyal to the British Empire, right? And the lucky ones could flee to Canada with some money in their pockets, right? Okay, so I think we have to always remember that greatness. Great for who? For whom? What does that mean? Well, what it means right now is that what if our own country has problems in the past and problems in the present that we should reject? Now, I'm not calling for a modern day violent break from the U.S. government at all. What I'm saying, though, is that it's not un-American to actually condemn bad behavior of the past, to condemn bad behavior of the present in our society, from the social level to the governmental level. It's a part of the very, very tradition that this day stands for. I mean, that's what it should be, right? Because having a kind of mythic nationalism where we fantasize about a past that doesn't exist and that we blindly think of, do we think of the past in some sort of utopian way? That's, to me, weakness. It's weakness because it's not grounded in reality. And then what it does is it distorts us. It allows for us to try to justify certain politics that maybe are not justifiable because we're not wanting to consider things that actually happened and what that implies to where we're at now, right? Okay. So I think that, we now are an empire. That's really empirical. If we don't realize we're an empire, that's silly. Well, we broke away from an empire. I personally want to break away from being an empire. And there's a lot of things going on right now that our own political establishment represents from the present to the past that I don't want to be a part of. And July 4th tells me I have a right to reject those things, right? That's what it says. And we look at the history of our founding fathers. I have no problem saying that certain things that they did were absolutely great and other things were absolutely horrible. And the thing to do to move forward is you accept what is good about them and you reject what is bad, and you integrate that into your world view. That to me isn't radical. And in actuality, you could argue that's conservative if we want to believe that following an American tradition and keeping that tradition would be conservative. Then breaking from the past and questioning the present is an American value that we've celebrated since 1776 and that we should continue to practice. And I think that is the best way to be a better American and a better human being, and that maybe we can start making more choices culturally, individually, and socially, and militarily that will be less embarrassing, shameful, or controversial to generations far ahead looking back at us at a later time. Have a fun and safe and enjoyable holiday, no matter which way you celebrate it and no matter what context you think about it. I love my peeps. I love my family. All right. Have a good one.